Hello everyone, welcome back to another random thought video, The Dilemma of Wolfgang Van Halen. What is his dilemma? Well anyways, I'm sure if you're watching this, you know he's the son of Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli, but it's been interesting watching this guy's career kind of take off from the end of Van Halen to now, and the thing is about him is I don't know like how this guy develops further because he starts his career, he's still a really young kid, I think a teenager, and Van Halen is in the twilight of their career. They're doing a few tours. They do that one, a different kind of truth album with him, and I guess he was pretty deeply involved in that. But as much as I love Van Halen, they were really at the end. They perceived now as like a classic rock band because even though they're like an 80s, 90s rock band, they're seen as that. So he's getting his start in a band that's at the tail end of their careers. And by all accounts, he can shred on guitar, he plays bass, he plays all the instruments on his records. Very talented guy. And the music he makes, I would say it's for me it's okay. I don't not like hugely into it, but you can tell that he's a decent, musician. He can do a lot of different things. And I'm sure that you look at him, he's a guy in his early 30s. A lot of his counterparts in the music business are going to be those like, even though it's different type of music, but like, Jonas Brothers, Charlie Puth, Shawn Mendes, those like younger type guys. And he wants to, step away from, the Van Halen spotlight and be his own guy. But the trouble that he has is that people that are going to be into him or aware of him are more into these bands that are in the later stages of his career. And like when he gets up to jam with people, generally on stage he's jamming, Foo Fighters or whoever, these guys that are, they've been around for quite a long time. They're at the later stages of his career, and even though he's a younger guy in his early 30s, everybody he's playing with are, their late 50s, 60s, maybe some in their 70s, and he's kind of in that realm. Like people that are going to be interested in him, well, he's Eddie Van Halen's son. That's probably what most people are going to be drawn to, and they want to hear, well, let's hear him kind of continue that, which obviously he's said multiple times he doesn't want to do. He wants to be his own guy, and I totally understand that. But it's how does he do that when most people are already going to view him as, oh, he's part of the kind of the classic rock family of people, even though he's younger and he wants to kind of start a career. But it's kind of like the unfortunate thing is that he's kind of starting at the end. You could say, well, him playing bass in Van Halen was cool. He got to play with his dad and his uncle and experience that, but it kind of stunts his growth in some ways because you look at somebody else, like somebody else's son, like, Bob Dylan's son, Jacob, that band. Well, they're still going like Wallflowers. He's kind of never really a part of Bob Dylan. He kind of was like, yeah, he's Bob Dylan's son, but he kind of was able to start his band and do his own thing. Where Wolfgang, he's always going to be seen as Eddie's son with people constantly begging him, just grab the guitar and shred. That's what we want to watch you do. And that would be like guys my age or guys around my age or older, 40s, 50s, even 60s. Like, okay, Wolfgang, do that. But that's not what he's doing on his records or what he's trying to establish himself as. It's just he wants to be a new guy and out there, and he should have, by all accounts, like a long, if he's in his 30s now, if he can go at least until he's in his 50s, maybe have a 20 more years to go. But I'm not sure how he does that with what he's seen as. Like a lot of the bands that he's going to be identified with are all fading out. Some guys are passing away. Some bands are just, we just can't do it anymore. We're going to retire. We're done, and I don't know where that leaves him. Because I don't know, like, younger people I know, I'd say like 30 and younger, like, even if they like rock music, it's not necessarily like him that they're into. They're into, whatever's coming out new now. And it's like, what do you think of Wolfgang Van Halen? Maybe they haven't heard of him, or maybe they know the name Van Halen, and he's kind of seen as just part. Oh, well, he was in Van Halen. They're an older band. They're not around anymore. So I think this will be interesting to watch to see what he does in the future because he is a really good musician and he seems like a pretty cool guy. And it's got to be hard having, the legacy of Eddie Van Halen because people are always going to compare him to that. And for the rest of his remaining days here on Earth, it's just like, dude, play Eruption or something like that. So, anyways, that's today's random thought. Hopefully, everyone out there is having an awesome day, and we'll see you next time. And thanks for sticking around.